Hello everyone, it's John McCracken here, aka the Lone Biker, and I'm in Dumfries because I'm about to start the Gallovidian Way. So what is the Gallovidian Way? It's a new cycle route created by CyclingUK. It's a mostly gravel route that starts and finishes in Dumfries and heads as far over as Newton Stewart. It takes in all the local towns, Kirkcudbright, Creetown, Gatehouse of Fleet, Castle Douglas. It's 200 miles, 330 kilometres, so I'm going to be doing it in 2 days. So I better get started. We're just working our way out of Dumfries just now, but looks like we've got a nice cycle lane. This is actually number 7, which does actually pass through and past Prestwick Airport, which I go on quite a lot, the one from Prestwick Airport into Brassey. Anyway, it's nice and pleasant. It's better than going through the city streets. We'll just continue. I think our first stop today, or not the first stop, but our first bit of wilderness is through Movavi Forest. So I'll maybe check in when we get there. So here we are on gravel, out of the town, and we're in our first forest of the day. This is Movavi Forest, and Movavi is also one of the 7 Stains mountain bike centres. This is an old haunt of mine. I used to like coming here on my mountain bike in days gone past, and I might return to it as soon as I've just had the mountain bike serviced. But my memories of it are it is a beautiful forest. I won't go left into the trails today. We'll stay in this nice forest road. It wasn't quite as smooth sailing out of Dumfries as I would have liked. Part of the cycle path was being resurfaced, which is a good thing, but it did mean I had to take detours and stuff, and I was redirected back on track with the Wahoo, thankfully. And then I realised my bottom bracket wasn't quite tight. So luckily on my reroute I did pass a wee bike shop, DG2 Cycles in Dumfries, and they tightened that up for me. A bit of a technical error from myself. But anyway, that's us into the wilds now. And I think our next touch with humanity is Dalbeattie Forest, Dalbeattie, the town itself, and then Dalbeattie in the forest. So, a wee bit of insight into how, where and when I started the ride today. Dumfries is the perfect starting point, to be honest, because it is on the main train line, and so I was able to get the train from Kilmarnock, 10 miles from where I stay, right into the heart of Dumfries, about 2 minutes from the start of the Gallovidian Way. And it is actually on one of the main lines coming north as well. The next stops after Dumfries are Annan, and then Carlisle just over the English border. So it's a great access into Dumfries and Galloway Forest Park. You're only about an hour further north than the Lake District. You've got all the scenery, but virtually nobody here, and you know that if you've ever been in the Lake District, it is mobbed all the time. And this is beautifully quiet. Some proper wilderness here. But lots of wee towns that link up the wilderness, so you're never away for that long, which is brilliant. So Dumfries is the perfect starting point. So if you're coming south from the central belt of Scotland, or you're coming up north, it's perfect. And if you want a day of travelling before you start, Dumfries obviously has loads of places that you can stay. Its nickname is the Queen of the South, and the football team is actually called Queen of the South. So it's a great starting point. I absolutely adore Dumfries and Galloway and Galloway Forest Park. I've done many events in here, namely the Gralach, and we will actually pass through Gatehouse of Fleet today where the Gralach starts. But I've done other things like the Galloway Gallop, the Wild Beast Day from Glorious Gravel. It's got a lot of the 7 stains. I think it's got 4 of the 7 stains in it, if not 5. But I always find it so beautiful. And I'm going to be doing some road runs as well over the summer as well, because even if you're not doing gravel, the roads round about here are incredible as well, and very rarely busy. Which is why when I saw that CyclingUK had made this route of 200 kilometres of the gravel, linking up all the best bits, I thought that's a bit of me. I'm going to go for that. So here we are on it. We're still in Movavi Forest. There was a big long climb up into the forest. I think this is the big long descent back down. And I can see a body of water on the map and my wahoo ahead of me. But yeah, that's why I decided to do this. And my final destination today is going to be Creetown, which is at the 150 kilometre mark. I'm staying at, I think it's Barhome bunkhouse or guest house I'm staying in, and I'll get something to eat there. I also, luckily because I'm off in the month of July, I can pick and choose my days. And as you can see, the weather is supreme. It's going to be 25 degrees today, sunny, very little cloud, very little wind for 2 days. So I thought, what better day to do, or better days to do the Gallovidian Gravel than these two. So I'll crack on with the journey just now, and I'll check in with you later. Just to show you some of the mixed terrain, this is a bit of single track. Did not expect to be kind of mountain biking today. I've got 43mm tyres on, so just a warning, if you're coming to do this, that might be a good idea to have some big tyres because there's some of this. I'm also watching where I put my feet in this nice sunny weather, because Dumfries and Galloway is prime adder country, so I do not want to put my foot down in a wee adder out basking in the sun. The Gallovidian Way, they said, beautiful wide gravel tracks. No, it is beautiful. This is a wee challenge. Yep, sorry tree, sorry bush. Yeah, so as you can see, I am now just hike-a-biking, because I can't actually see the trail, and this is the trail. I'm following the GPX. The ferns are really overgrown, and there's big rocks in this bit of path, so I don't want to come a cropper this early in the day. Hopefully we'll open up into something. Ta-da! And there we go. Now, so behind me here is one of the first major stopping points on it. This is Sweetheart Abbey in New Abbey, and it is quite spectacular. It is hundreds of years old, I think 700 years old at least, and it is said that King Edward, the one famous in the Flower of Scotland song that's sent homewards to think again, he apparently stayed in here a night during the various wars that happened. Thankfully we're not at war anymore, we're all friends, but no, it's beautiful here, and I kind of forgot this was on the route, but it's worth a stop because it is spectacular. Look at those arches, those are amazing. And the scenery's been spectacular so far. There is a tower up in the hill up there, I'm not quite sure what that is. There is a visitors board over here, so we'll just go over and have a wee look and see what it says. Worth a wee stop every now and then. So yeah, Sweetheart Abbey, 1273, there you go, that's how old it is. I'm just looking to see if, yeah, Abbott's Tower is the tower that's up there, I think. Anyway, I'm going to crack on with the journey because I'm at kilometre 30 and I've got 120 still to go. But it's a beautiful day, a strange ticking noise coming from the back of my bike. I know it's not the bottom bracket now because that has been looked at in a shop, but everything seems to be working. Who knows, the ticking noise might be my knees, but anyway, there is Sweetheart Abbey. Now this is really quite interesting. The tower behind me, which I think I might have pointed out in the tower earlier, is actually in honour of the soldiers, the British and Belgian and Prussian soldiers who under Wellington and Blucher fought at the Battle of Waterloo. So there you go, ABBA, eat your heart out. This tower is actually a tribute to soldiers who died at Waterloo. Now I'm led to believe though that the tower was actually built 5 years before Waterloo. So either the builders had great foresight of what was to come, or they were really good at repurposing buildings. So well, we're at kilometre 65 and we've reached civilization again at Sandy Hills Caravan Park. So I've got a wee ice lolly here we're going to have, a wee sugar hit before we head on with the journey, and it is a beautiful day. I'm glad I put the Factor 50 on today. That was quite a tough wee section we've just come over from the Waterloo Monument over here. There was a climb that was 4 kilometres long, which was quite tricky, so this has been earned. So I've made it to the beautiful wee village of Rockcliffe. The tide's in just now. What an absolutely gorgeous view of the Solway Firth. And you can see, I don't know if you can see it there, but there's one of the offshore wind farms away out there. The Solway Firth's famous for the tide going way out and being quite dangerous as it comes in quite quick. It's very hazy today, but just behind the windmills over there you can just see the Lake District. I saw them better when I was up in the gravel hills. So we're in Rockcliffe now. I've had something to eat from the local shop. Nothing better than just buying 2 dry rolls and a packet of chicken and making your own. We'll maybe get something else later on. It's a hard day, got to feed ourselves. But my goodness, what a beautiful day and what a beautiful wee village this is. Remember coming here with my daughter when she was young. I stayed. If you ever come in here, just outside of Dobiti, there's a wee glamping place called Goss Bank, and it is fantastic and I highly recommend it. But I came here with my daughter and my wife, and she had a great wee time in the beach. My daughter did. I'm sure my wife did as well, but anyway, I'm going to crack on with the journey. Got about 90 kilometres till the end of the day, but we've still got Kirkcudbright and Gatehouse of Fleet to visit as well. So let's crack on. So we have now entered Gallovidian Forest, and this is the forest that houses the second of our 7 stains that we'll pass, mountain bike centres. The Gallovidian Forest was the first 7 stains I ever had a shot on, and I loved it. And I've also raced cross-country mountain biking here. Didn't love that so much because it was absolutely soaking wet and there's lots of off-piste days, off-piste routes, sorry. They were really techy. But, as I've said before, I'd rather be last in a race than first on the couch. Anyway, let's enjoy Gallovidian Forest. Just came over quite a tough wee bit there. I had to come through a field of cows, and I never like going through a field of cows. I'm always wary because they weigh a few tons and I don't want trampled by them. But we've come out down here to this lovely bay, and I'll just pan round and show you it. Isn't that gorgeous? There's the Solway Firth in the Irish Sea. In fact, the Solway Firth's over here, this will be the Irish Sea. The land you can see over there, past the windmills, that's the Lake District. And I don't know if it's too hazy today, but further along this coast we might be able to see the Isle of Man in the Irish Sea. But it is beautiful here. And we've come down a wee double track I would have preferred to have my mountain bike, and we've found these beautiful wee houses here. It's just absolutely stunning. What a stunning day to do this. I'm getting a wee bit tired now. I would like the end to come. I've not been to Kirkcudbright yet. I'm assuming it's fairly close. We've got another wee coastal path, but it is nice when you can take in this view. Anyway, let's crack on. So that's day 1 complete, and I'm in the bunkhouse. That was a tough day, 155 kilometres, so just shy of 100 miles. There were some beautiful bits of scenery at various points, but I would say as well that the beautiful bits of scenery came on, for instance, coming through Kipford and coming into Rockcliffe, where you are on the road. But that's day 1 complete. And now it's just time for a bite of dinner and some juice. So we'll see you in the morning. Well, good morning everybody, and welcome to day 2 of my Gallovidian Way adventure. The bike's all ready to go. It is already hot. I had a great sleep last night. This place is called the Barhome Accommodation, and it's kind of bunkhouse style, but I would highly recommend it if you are going to bike pack, whether there's a first or a second stop. So I had a really good sleep. The muscles are still a wee bit tight today. Feeling good. There's nothing feels better though than putting on yesterday's sweaty clothes again. Carrying an extra set of clothes and something like this when you're only away 2 days, it's a bit pointless. It's just extra weight. So we're going to see how today goes. There's a shop just there. I'm going to stock up on some ibuprofen for the old knee, and we'll see how we go. It's already quite hot. It's only 9 o'clock, but got bags of nuts and things we can replace the salt with, and let's see how long it takes us to get to Dumfries with a few stops along the way. So let's get cracking. And this is us in Carrochtree in the forest. And Carrochtree is another one of our 7 Stains mountain bike courses centres, and it's one of my favourites. I think for a wee while our route today takes us on a wee bit of what is the blue route, which is this kind of stuff. But it's got a fantastic cafe and bike shop, so if you're having any wee mechanicals on your Gallovidian Way, or Gallovidian Way, sorry, this is maybe a place to stop at the brake pad. Let's crack on! So I'm at a place called Glen of the Bar, and they've erected this fence here. Now this fence and this path that you can see used to go out onto a great big walkway, because the view down this glen is absolutely spectacular, and it's a shame it must have blown down or got damaged. So I'll hold up the camera and see if you can see it. It's absolutely spectacular. Now, one thing you might notice if you're looking on a map, that Glen of the Bar is not actually on the Gallovidian Way, is because I've skipped out the big loop that goes to Glen Trail today. Including that would have made this a 180-kilometre day, and my left knee has not recovered from yesterday. So I'm taking the road route. Now if you decide to do this, because that is quite a remote section, it's beautiful, but if maybe the weather's inclement or you're feeling like hungry, or you're needing to get to civilization a bit quicker, the road that you can come along towards New Galloway is called the Queen's Way, and it is a spectacular road. I like doing it in my road bike quite a lot, so I would suggest that that's an option there, and it will take you past Murray's Mount, and I'll maybe talk more about that in a wee bit, but it will take, this road takes you to Clattering Shaws and the dam, where you join back up with the route that takes you over to Gatehouse of Fleet. So we'll assess how we are when we get to Clattering Shaws, but I'm enjoying this because I love this bit of road. It is spectacular, and as you can see, totally empty. And for the roadies out there, the tarmac here is actually spectacular as well. So you've got views and tarmac, and if you can get it in a day like this, amazing. Anyway, I'm going to crack on just now. We'll see how the knee goes. Maybe when I get to Gatehouse of Fleet, we'll maybe get some more ibuprofen or paracetamol in. But let's crack on. So that's Murray's Mount up on the Murray's Monument up there. Now I'll maybe add a wee bit in post-ride to say, but I think Murray was born round about here. I think the site of his cottage is further up the road here, but he went on to be a world-renowned linguist, and I think he was one of the first people to translate many languages. But I'll clarify that, and I'll do a wee bit postscript to let you know. But it is beautiful, and you can actually park here and walk up to it. And just behind... Hi, it's future lone biker here. Built in 1835, this granite obelisk commemorates an extraordinary individual, Alexander Murray, a local shepherd boy who rose to academic heights as a professor of Oriental languages at Edinburgh University. With little formal education, he was self-taught in languages and displayed a talent that took him from his pastoral life to the prestigious halls of academia. Back to the past, I think. Now behind me is Clattering Shaws Loch, and that's the dam, part of a big project of hydroelectric buildings that went on in the 20s, I think, and it is a pretty stunning piece of architecture. If you keep going in the Queen's Way, you actually come pretty close to the dam, and it's pretty imposing when you're right next to it. Obviously this is the old road and bridge that's right down here, but it's such a beautiful part. Now, either side of this bridge, there's an entrance there and an entrance there, or exit. And if you've done the gravel, you'll recognise it because you come out at this one, at the Raiders Road, and you head back into the gravel in there, and quite a number of gravel sportists have used it in this area. Now I'm about to join back up with the course, so I'm about to become a Gallovidian again. I'm a wee bit sorry that I never got to do that. I have done it before, and I think in a future video, what I'll do is I'll go and do the Glen Trail Big Country Loop, which is technically one of the Seven Stains mountain bike routes, but it is a gravel route. And I'll do it on its own because it is a gorgeous loop. I'll maybe wait for another beautiful day like this. I won't pretend that I've done it because I don't want to be fake or anything like that. But we're heading in here in the Raiders Road. Now, believe it or not, deep into... I'll just show you how beautiful the river and the falls are over this side as well. But deep in there is the road to Gatehouse of Fleet. And I think at some point we will be cycling on an old railway, because there was an old railway line ran, I think, from Stranraer or Portpatrick all the way to Dumfries through this wood. But this is a spectacular bit. I love cycling in this part of the world, and I mean, what a better advert for Dumfries and Galloway and the Galloway Tourist Board than just the scenes you're seeing right now. Oh dear. The old titanium bike's doing the job. There's a wee ticking noise coming for the back, but after a big day like this, I think it deserves a wee service when we're finished, and so do I. Right, I'm going to have a flapjack, and then I'm going to head down the Raiders Road, and then at the end of it I'll be at Gatehouse of Fleet. I'll maybe stop and talk between then and now, but we'll get the Raiders Road, and then I'm going to raid a coffee shop because I really need a coffee. Let's crack on. So this section of road we are on is called the Raiders Road, and we are actually right by the river, just through the trees there. Usually I'm on this road on the gravel, and it's a slight uphill on the gravel, so it's nice actually to get a wee bit of a downhill assistance here. And you can actually drive your car up here. The entrance I came in at Clattering Shaws, you can bring your car. And the lovely car parks, and I'm not sure, and yes, here's the car park indeed. This is called the Otter Pool car park, because I'm assuming there's otters round about here. But one of the best things about this car park is, in the middle of nowhere, there are some public toilets, which I know, especially for the ladies, is quite important. So I'm going to have a wee nature break here. So that's us reached the end of the Raiders Road, sorry, and it is one of the best gravel roads. I'm going out on a limb here. One of the best gravel roads in the world, the Raiders Road. Just glorious the entire time. There was dragonflies flying round about me and stuff. It was just spectacular. Now we're at the top of the Raiders Road, and look at this at the top. There's this loch. What a spectacular scene that is today. And yeah, you can drive up the Raiders Road, and if you've got a camper van or anything, you can stay the night there. I think they charge you £10, and lots of people stay in camp or stay in their camper van. But what an absolutely beautiful view that is. Now, this is part of the old railway that run through the Galloway Forest Park, and we are heading this direction, back towards Gatehouse of Fleet. Now, I've come the other direction before, when it was just kind of being newly opened up to cycling, I did a ride called the Galloway Gallop in 2013, I think. And it was a day like this in September, but it had rained the week before. And because you've got the aggregate underneath your feet from the railway, even though it was dry, the water just lay. So there was like 3 miles of cycling through a puddle that was only an inch deep. But it was all part of the fun. I'm not thinking it's going to be like this today. But you can go all the way that way as well. Again, I'd like to come back and do that, an adventure for another day. But what an absolutely glorious scene this is. Just spectacular. But let's crack on. Came to the end of the railway section there, and it was rubbly and my backside is killing me. So I'm glad it's over. The last 500 yards had nice champagne gravel, but I'm actually glad to be back in this stuff where I can pick a nice smooth line, because oofed, after 200 kilometres on gravel over the last day and a bit, the backside is not happy. Anyway, quite literally, let's crack on. Spectacular Fleet Viaduct here. It's just mind-blowing what we used to do with architecture and infrastructure in this country. So behind me is the spectacular Fleet Viaduct. The railway we were on, this spanned this large dip in the valley, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. And you can see, one thing I like, the swifts and the swallows have all nested in them, and they are all over the place. It's such a joy to watch. Now, I don't think you can get up over the top of it, which is probably why the route takes you down off the railway and round and underneath it. But usually when I see this, I'm quite pleased, because it means it's near the end of the Gralach. Because although this is the Fleet Viaduct, we are near Gatehouse of Fleet. And hopefully we'll get some lunch there. It's a nice wee town. If you've ever done any of the Glorious Gravel events, that spot right there is usually one of the food stops. But yeah, it's an absolutely spectacular place. You'll see there's people have wee houses up here as well, which are amazing. But just take in that view. Imagine the planning and the fortitude it took to build that. And let me assure you that as pleasant of a day it is today, it's not always like this. You imagine working in this in the depths of winter, it must have been a challenge, let's say. Anyway, I'm going to push on because I'm ready for some lunch, and I really need a coffee. The one thing about the Gallovidian Way, it needs more coffee stops. Gatehouse of Fleet, home of the Gralach, which I have raced 3 times. But today isn't a race, today is a quest for a sandwich and a coffee. This hill is at the start of the Gralach, as well as been on today's route, and it's called Fuffolk Hill. And I don't know where it got its name, but every single time I've been riding it in the Gralach, I have heard myself say, for fuck's sake. So maybe there's something in that. Anyway, Only the 5 kilometres to go in this climb, but we're well fuelled after our stop in Gatehouse of Fleet, so hopefully that will keep us going. We've taken some vitamin I, so hopefully that will help the knee for the next wee while. We've got about 45 miles to go. It is still a beautiful day, and you don't get 2 days in a row like this in Scotland that much. So despite the aches and pains, I'm going to enjoy it and soak it in. And the thing is, when I'm here doing the Gralach, I'm racing, so my head is down, but not all cycles are a race. And today and yesterday and touring in general, it's not about racing, as I said, it's about taking everything in and really enjoying it. So, Fuffuck Hill was crested, and then you've got quite a long descent down to this sweet bit of tarmac. It's actually quite fun after Fuffuck Hill, but Fuffuck Hill is not fun at all, even on a nice day. But we've got 40 miles left to go. The next town on our itinerary is Castle Douglas, and it's a town I really like. So I might check in before then if we come across something significant, but you know the phrase, let's crack on. Look at this amazing sight, and I nearly run over this. This isn't a snake, this is what we call a slow worm, and they're beautiful wee things. I'm just hoping it gets off the road because I've just passed 2 great big forestry lorries. So wow, what a sight to see. Wow, every single one of those birds is a red kite. Wow, I've never seen so many there in the one place like that before. I mean, I'm counting at best, there's double figures of red kites up here. Wow, that is amazing. Here we are in Castle Douglas. I thought I'd stop just outside the bike shop in Castle Douglas just to show you that there's another place you could, if you're needing emergency repairs, you can get here, and it's a good wee bike shop. But I love Castle Douglas. It's one of those old-fashioned towns that's still got like the sweet shop and the haberdashers and the gents clothing store and stuff. It's like stepping back into, you know, like the 50s or 60s when high streets were still high streets. But definitely pay a wee visit into the bike shop if you're here and stop for a coffee. I'm going to see if I can find somewhere to coffee, and I need to refill my water bottles before we press on. Probably got about 30 miles to go, and I was quite buoyed up there by seeing all that wildlife, and those red kites were just incredible, and great to see the wee slow worm, and that really buoyed me up. Now what better in a classic old style town than a classic old style vanilla ice cream cone. I'll keep me going. It's Mr. Hare. Bye bye. It's not always fine dining and etiquette in the life of the bike packer. I'm sitting in a garage forecourt, but I've got a wee double espresso and some water to fill up. So we've got 20 miles left to go. I think we're going to be following the old military road, I think it's called. But it feels doable now. But we'll get this coffee, a wee caffeine boost, and then we'll get headed off. So I've just stopped here at maybe at the trailhead. Well, not that long for the end, and I thought I'd just do a wee bit and share some of my thoughts. I loved my 2 days. Would I do the whole thing again? I'm not sure, but it was spectacular. Day one was tough, and I probably only did about 85–90% of the actual course. But then again, that's bike packing. You can make things up as you go along and use the route just as a wee guide. It was a bit tough getting in and out some of the coastal places. So it is what it is. Some people might like that. It wasn't classic gravel day one after maybe Forest. Day two, spectacular. And I've got a cracking day for it. But that was proper gravel. From Creetown all the way to Gatehouse of Fleet is proper gravel cycling, which if you're coming to do that cycling, you will love it. And if you add in the bit I missed round Glentrool and over to Loch Dee, it is spectacular. Now, if you were going to do the whole thing, my suggestion would be don't do it in 2 days. I would say take 3 or 4 days to do it. It adds to the cost and maybe adds to the stuff you're going to carry. If I was doing it again, I'd maybe try and do it over 2, maybe 3 days, but I would get somebody in a car to support me so I wasn't carrying my toothbrush and my toothpaste and my clothes and everything, because I think that's the problem. You're carrying that extra weight, it just makes it that wee bit more tricky. But Dumfries and Galloway and the Galloway Forest Park are a jewel in the crown of forests in Britain, and a lot of people pass it right by on the, well, it's the M6 and then it becomes the M74 when you're in Scotland. They pass it by on their way to the Central Belt or their way to the Highlands or the other direction going to the Lake District, and I would say stop and come and explore here because it's spectacular. And you know what, sometimes it was like being in a zoo at times with all the animal life I saw. There was hares, there was deer. The red kites are worth it in their own, and seeing a wee slow worm, which was fantastic. And you don't have to do the whole thing. It is designed as 3 separate wee loops. You could pick a loop and do it and then come back another time, because you are only an hour and a bit away from Glasgow. You're only an hour further up north from Carlisle. So definitely something that you can consider doing in small bits. Anyway, I'm going to head off down into Dumfries, back into civilization, hopefully catch my train. When I get home in the train in Kilmarnock, I've still got another 10 miles to ride, so we'll see how the joints and the muscles have stiffened up in the train ride home, which is about an hour. But you know there's only 3 things you still need to do. Like, subscribe, and get out and ride. Cheers.